I'd like to call the November 22nd Executive Committee meeting to order. And first, I'd like a motion to allow Chairman Wheeler in the meeting. He's in his office. Mrs. Weber. Oh. All right, hold on. I'm going to redo that just so. Good morning. I'd like to call the November 22nd Executive Committee meeting to order. And I'm looking for a motion to allow Chairman Wheeler in, Mrs. Weber with a first, and Mr. Long with a second. Roll call vote, or roll call, all in favor say aye. No, not roll call. Voice vote. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Welcome, Mr. Wheeler. All right, now roll call, please.
Mr. Lear? Present. Mr. Hess? Present. Ms. Polk?
Present.
Ms. Weber? Present. Ms. Parker? Present. Mr. Fairfield? Present. Mr. Carrico? Present. Mr. Federling?
Present.
Mr. Miller? Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Hunter? Present. Ms. Foster?
I got it. Yeah. Two? No.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler?
Present.
Mr. Searoy?
Present.
We have a quorum?
I don't have any public comment in front of me. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, I'm looking for approval for the October 25th, 2022 minutes. Mr. Hunter with the first, Mrs. Parker with the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Legislative report. Mr. Lear, would you like to? Nothing? Mr. Lear, I'd like to thank you for your time of service, sir. Thank you, and it's been a pleasure to be on the board with you. All right, moving on. Information services. Mr. Duvall, give his monthly update. Wherever you'd like to sit, feel free to come on up. If he sits, it's usually a long one, ladies and gentlemen.
No. I don't want it.
Morning, Kevin.
I'll keep it short. I just didn't know if it was fair for me always to make you bend back around. So we're moving forward. The VAC move went well. It was coordinated well with Karen. She let us know in enough time. We made some adjustments before they moved, and then I sent Jason out after the move. I just talked to her. She said it's still been working good. So that was a smooth transition. I just asked her. She said that we still would help service them. They almost never need much. There's not that many people, and they're other than internet access, which is what they do for majority of their work, they're pretty, I want to say, low cost for my department. And so that'll be between the VAC and the chairman, how that goes forward. But as far as us, it's not really a heavy load for us to do. As far as moving forward with the networking, as I've said in several of the other buildings, now we've been able, for the last few months, get back to what we normally do, which is improve and update the hardware equipment. That's been going well. The holidays really help us for that, because when people get out of the building, we can do what we need to do. I specifically, for what I do, need people out of the building because I have to take the networks down, and I can't disrupt, you guys or the department servicing the public. That's been helpful for the days off. Jason actually came in with me the last weekend, so we did a lot of moving out of networking equipment, and while it's not that most exciting to you, it's critical for what we need to do to stay moving forward. We're going to be doing more throughout the winter. At some point we'll go into the courthouse to do the same things that we're doing here over there, not just in preparation for their new software, but it will greatly improve that. They're doing fine now, but we've always tried to stay ahead, so then the departments can just decide what software they want and not be limited by the hardware that they have. So we've been at that point for a while here. And other than that, if you got any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Duvall? Oh, Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Chairman. Kevin, if you had a magic wand,
what would be some of your equipment needs for the future,
Honestly,
if any?
this is not meant to be flippant, but the ARPA has been our magic wand. I mean, we've bought equipment that we would not have been able to get under the old budgets for the last 10 years. This equipment that I'm talking about that we're putting in, the switches, that's very expensive equipment that was paid by ARPA. If we count it all up over the few years, it's well over six figures that we've put in. After I retire and stuff, what you guys do going forward, I don't know what you're gonna know, because that was a godsend at that point, and I appreciate that the chairman made that available, because otherwise that'd been a significant cost that you would have had to do. So it was nice that you were able to use that. There are some other things that I've talked to the chairman about. I'd let him discuss those things that you could going forward, but those are more, like he said, wish lists. If we could, there's some things going forward that I would like for the chairman of the board to consider, but it's not something you have to do. You're always ahead of the other government bodies here in this area, so that's never a concern. But there's things I like you'd be able to do, yeah, but can I come back to you and say you have to do that? No. So you're very advanced, actually, compared to the other bodies. Are you Riverside advanced? No, but you don't have that kind of money. You are equal to mostly what they have. Actually, if you walk through some of their offices, you'll see, if you're an IT person, that some of our stuff is newer and more advanced than them, but also you don't have probably, I know you don't, because I'm the budget, you don't have millions of dollars annually just to put on equipment, and they do. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
Yeah.
we have had it. ARPA's happened, and when the chairman made some of that available, what you would need going forward would be dependent on where you guys go as a board, what your moves will be. That'll determine where any additional stuff is.
And you don't see any vicissitudes or problems associated with the renovation of the courthouse at all?
No, we've been involved with that. I was in the planning meetings. I was there with the engineer, with Wes, and with Andy. Part of what we're doing is part of that. When they started the construction of the basement, that's where jury is. That's where the jury phone systems are. That's where there's jury server software. We had to move all that first. That's hardware was upgraded maybe 6 months or a year prior to that, but then we had to move those lines all over. That was some extensive work. When the people got moved out of the basement to the other floors, that's us. We had to move them there. And ARPA paid for a portion of the new computers they have over there, but also to be fair, the court system used their funds to upgrade their computers. Mostly that came out of their pockets over the last 2 years, which made it easy to just decide what vendor they wanted to go to, because you didn't have a hardware limitation. We're always trying to stay ahead of the curve, and I'm pretty proud that we do that. We're working with the sheriff on a few things. I've just been talking with Trent on an email back and forth on a specific project that they need to help with the old jail. But that's moving forward. That's an existing thing, but that wouldn't come out of our funds. Again, hopefully I answered that question.
You did.
So.
I appreciate the update.
Any other questions for Mr. Duvall? Thank you, Kevin. Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Next on the docket is Health Department, Mr. John Beavis. Is he in the room? I did not see him in the room. Is there a report in the packet? A motion to accept his report?
Polk.
Mrs. Polk with a first, Mr. Lear with a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Moving along, ICANN Schools, Frank. I'm gonna mess it up. Good morning, Pekutis. There you go. You gonna stay back there, Frank? If you want to come up,
You tell me where you want me.
come on up here. You got a face for a camera.
I don't have a long report.
All right. Motion to accept the school's report. Mr. Fairfield and Mrs. Long. Mr. Long, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, sorry, Frank.
So, just wanted to give you guys an update. I apologize I haven't been here since I started. Been a very busy fall. I want you to know if you ever need anything from me, please reach out, and I'll be glad to try to be here if I can. The reason I haven't been here is fall is a very busy time with going out and visiting schools. So we have approximately 64 school buildings, public school buildings in Kankakee and Iroquois County, and we have visited about 54 of them. So we've got about 10 left, 9 or 10 left before we're finished with that health, life, safety inspections. Things are going well with that. Schools are looking good. We're lucky our region does a very nice job taking care of things and keeping up on things. So it's funny because when we go to our statewide organization with other regional superintendents, there's comments made that ICANN doesn't have very many findings or things in the health, life, safety. And my comment is, if we don't have them, we're not going to put them in there. So we're not looking for problems. We identify them when they're there, but our schools take really good care of things. So we're currently working on our audit for last year, so that's always a fun time. Many of our schools are off this week. They've set their calendars so that they are not in at all this week. We've got a few that are in on Monday and Tuesday, but most of them have taken the week. They're currently working on their school calendars for next year, so they're getting those set. We have been approving school maintenance grants, so there's been a lot of school maintenance grants sent in, so schools are doing some projects. The way that works is the schools submit them to us. We either approve or disapprove them, and then ISB has to approve or disapprove them. So we've gotten about 15 or so out of our 19 districts, and ISB has so far approved 5 or so. But a lot of them came in last week. The due date was Friday, so a lot going on with that, a lot of projects. So things are going well in our schools. So the transition from Greg to me, so far so good. Again, it's been busy, but we're hanging in there and taking care of things. So be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Questions for Mr. Pekunas? Anything? Frank, what's the most common life safety violations that a school might have?
Extension cords.
Extension cords? That's the most common?
Yeah, and it's funny because, you know, as a teacher, thinking back, you know, you're working every day and you just want to get things done. So you do it as, you know, as efficiently as you can. And so if you need to plug something in, you go grab an extension cord, you plug it in. So it's not that people are being malicious or anything. It's just they're trying to get things done. So you just remind them, and they can use a power strip, you know, so you go through, and it's not that bad.
Right.
I mean, it's funny when you find them anymore. You know, they're like, oh, I thought we got them all, you know. So
back in the day, it used to be, you know, asbestos tile was a big thing 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So most of the schools around here have kind of cleared that part up.
Yeah, and they're still there, but they take care of it and keep an eye on things. So.
All right, great. Any questions, Mrs. Weber?
I just can proudly say that Herscher and Pembroke just got grants for electric school buses, 25 in Herscher area.
Yeah.
And I wonder, that is an interesting grant, not given very much, but do you think that'll come some more, so your other school buses?
It sounds like there may be some opportunities on the horizon. I haven't heard of anything immediately, but I think this initial process, I think, we're gonna have to see how it goes.
Oh, yes.
I know in talking with the superintendent from Herscher, it's a lot bigger project than what he anticipated. The infrastructure is going to be a huge challenge, and availability of equipment is an issue. Apparently, those buses take an awful lot of electricity to charge, and that was a big eye opener for them. So, and to have 25 of them, so it'll be nice once it's done and once the project's done. But with any new technology, there's always learning curves and there's always things to figure out. And, so it'll be interesting to see. But it is exciting that 2 of our districts have an opportunity to see what it's about.
Thank you.
No comment from the bus guy here.
Oh, that's interesting.
We'll do that offline. Is that?
Yeah, I'll talk to Miss Weber about that later. Green energy, folks. All right.
Well,
Anything
thank you very
else?
much.
Thank you. Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
Next up, VAC. Ms. Smetansky. I've said it more times. I've almost got it down. Almost. The kids I coach, I always give a nickname, and the ones I have a hard time pronouncing. So
Oh, well,
you're lucky.
I'll take it. That's okay.
Motion to approve her report. Mr. Long, Mrs. Polk. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Good morning.
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 Hold on, how was the drive over here?
God, it seems so long. It wasn't bad. Can't complain. It's all those darn stoplights, you know. Have to figure out how to get one of those things that the ambulances use so that I can just fly through them, right? So move went well. Thank you to anybody and everybody that had a piece in that. As Kevin said, the computer part went a lot better than I thought it might go. I was a little bit worried, but computers, phones, all that went really well. I will say, and I don't know that anybody really knows this, but we actually switched phone systems, so we don't have these. We bought all of our phones that we had in this office, so if anybody needs these phones, I think they're still sitting in that office, just so somebody knows that. I think Wes probably took them by now, but those are in that office. Veterans Treatment Court, I will invite you now, December 15th, we have a tentative graduation scheduled. It is we have 2 female veterans in there right now, but this is one of our female veterans is scheduled to graduate that day. It is a very special day in our court, so please feel free to come join us. It'll be Thursday the 15th at 2:30. Usually we hold them in courtroom 300 or 302 or whatever that big courtroom is up there on the 3rd floor. David in our office just passed his year, and he just did his basic benefits course, which is the first course that a VSO takes to start his accreditation process. So he just passed that last Friday, so he's on his way to becoming a VSO. And let's see, I think that's pretty much the highlights. I mean, we're just really getting settled. We've had a lot of walk-ins from the clinic. Being there right where we're supposed to be has really proven already that we are doing what we're supposed to do. People walking in and saying, hey, what do you guys do? We've put up posters in both elevators over there, letting people know that we're there, and a list of what we do. Yesterday we passed out our normal Thanksgiving baskets that we normally do out of the garage down here. We did out the back door there, and it worked well. So things are going off without a hitch. So yeah, any questions? Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Thank you. Well, if I'd like to send you a check, what address can I send it to your services?
It is 581 William Latham Senior Drive, Suite 302
Oh, Suite 302.
in Bourbonnais.
Thank you. And the second and third thing, two of the things you mentioned in your report was the Legion Herscher, the auxiliary, had an honor flight steak fry on November 5th, and I wanted to report that we raised $14,600
Holy tamale.
for honor flights.
That is
So
great.
It was wonderful. It takes about $1,500 for each veteran to fly to Washington, D.C., and we raised $14,000.
That is amazing.
I'm the treasurer and wrote that check, so it was really fun to do that. The next Friday was Fish Fry in Herscher, Veterans Fish Fry. 51 veterans came and ate free at the Veterans Fish Fry, so we were having a veterans moment for a while in Herscher. So thank you for mentioning it in your report.
Absolutely, that's great. And yeah, the wreaths across America too. I know Hoekstra's got a big stake in that. They are the company that goes and gets all the wreaths and distributes them across America. And I think that is a fabulous thing that they're known for now at this point. And they're actually distributing to the smaller local cemeteries for the veterans too. And they're looking for volunteers. And if anybody is interested in helping put out wreaths for veterans, you can contact Lori Teeters at Hoekstra's. Great service project for youth organizations, great project for anybody that needs community service hours. I know even we've had people say, they're looking for stuff for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, all that sort of thing. So certainly keep that in mind too. I didn't attach the documents to this, but that's what we had on there, is that they're looking for people to help distribute those wreaths in the smaller cemeteries too, as well as up at Abraham Lincoln. They're always looking for people to do that.
Just thank you. A sidebar to that in that County West area, there's 386 wreaths donated, so that all the little cemeteries around Herscher area have their veterans with wreaths now. So just
awesome.
Remember, is it December 17th?
Yeah, I think so.
Is when it puts down, and then they come back up too, don't they?
Yep.
They get pulled back up again.
Yep, they have to get pulled back up after Christmas, though. I mean, it's a while. I think it's even in February, maybe.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's after it gets warm. They can leave them out most of the winter because they stay fresh. So, yeah, I think that's it.
Any other questions? Mr. Carrico.
Karen, I came across with something here on the VA, a service that's being offered to veterans. I'm not sure, it probably is done through the clinic, the VA clinic, or I'm not sure if your office helps to facilitate that the service, and that is the Integrated Coordinating Center for Health. It's if I looked at here, the VA has developed a policy and guidance required to implement the CIH, or the Coordinating Integrated Health System, which provides extra services or integrative health services to veterans, which include acupuncture, biofeedback, guided imagery, massage, meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga. Are you familiar with that at all?
Only to the point that when the VA expands their healthcare floor over at the clinic, they expect to have all of those services over there. So right now they take up one side. We take up a back small section. They are taking up the whole rest of it except for 1,500 square feet.
Okay.
And when they do that expansion, they're going to have, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they've told me heart, x-ray, ortho, massage, acupuncture, all of that. They do acupuncture, massage in Joliet. They do a lot of that holistic stuff now.
Okay.
But I do not believe until they expand over here that they offer any of that locally. I would love to see that happening. We have a lot of, currently, even on our Vets Court people, the Vets Court participants get it for free right now through Drug Free Inc. is offering it to Drug Court and Vets Court participants through the grant. So yeah, it is a great opportunity for them to heal in different ways.
Well, the reason for my question is because I have one of my students is a veteran, and he asked me about that, if that is being offered in Kankakee County. So I thought about asking you, and I'm glad that you're giving us a little bit more information. And a nice thing that I'm seeing here too is that the VHA developed a new standards for profession to hire acupuncturists and massage therapists. So they came up with a new code for them So that way is going to be opening a little bit more to even hire other veterans. They already went back to school and became a licensed massage therapist, a licensed acupuncturist, to go back and work for the VA.
Yeah, in fact, when they opened up the schooling that your veteran went through using his funds that he could, I think that was the goal, is to be able to use more of their GI Bill, CWT, VRNE, and all of those funds to be able to go to different types of trade schools per se, that they hadn't had that opportunity to use before. So, yep, I agree. I think it's fantastic. More people need to do that.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Thanks, Karen. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you too.
Next on the docket, County Administrator Anita Speckman, their monthly report. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Hi.
So this morning, just a few things. It's really a critical time of the year for the fifth floor, myself, Joanne, and Kelly. First off, openings. We have 15 postings, open positions posted currently, which is the same as last month. Not a lot of movement there. We had a couple hires out of it, so a few positions drop off. 2 new positions added. 1 position which was in the assessment for a higher level mapping technician 2. Eric wasn't able to find anyone to fill that, and we've reposted it as a mapping technician 1, hoping to grow someone internally throughout, have them start a little lower with lower requirements and then move up within his department. So that's going on. We've got, of the 15 positions, public health has 5 of those. So that's outside of our control, other than we post them on our website. With the, what's going on now, we have application that's able to be submitted online. So that'll be rolling out relatively soon, so that will hopefully help. So in addition to new hires, postings, etc., we're working on, we have 2 contracts that we finished, corrections recently and coroner in the last month, and we have 2 contracts which expire this month, 11/30, which are currently in process, maintenance and highway. So we're working on those. Group health open enrollment will roll out. It will be from December 1st through December 15th. So Kelly yesterday was able to, we have the feedback from our software company, and she's double checked all the rates, so those are ready to go. We have other things we're waiting on to do, postings of, we have a library of documents that relate to each of our benefits. So Kelly and I have to work on that and make sure everything there is posted correctly. I'm waiting on I shot the video earlier this month that we use for our open enrollment and our new employee orientation. So I'm waiting for that back. It's due back today to run through all of that and make sure that's correct. And then we'll start getting everything posted, but we'll be up and running for December 1st. So it's been there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes to make it seamless as of December 1st. So no one sees anything different. I did have a call from a retiree who lives out of state who was very happy with the process and complimented our team on how it all works and how smooth it is. So it works especially well for those that are out of the area or perhaps on a different schedule, maybe second or third shift, that it's easier for them to watch the video at their convenience rather than try to find an in-person meeting. So this is our 5th year of remote enrollment. So that's where that's at. Joanne is working hard on the annual sexual harassment training for all employees, and I hope our county board members have gotten the link and are working with her on that. I'll check with her. All employees have to take an annual sexual harassment training. So even though you've taken it, I get a lot of calls, well, I already took it once, I already took it twice. According to state law, you have to take it every single year, and Joanne tracks that and makes sure that we're in compliance. So.
You harass them to get the harassment.
It's not sexual.
No, it's not.
It's not harassment.
Oh, it's not. It's
Do it.
encouragement.
We coordinate the activity. Wow. And then next month, I will have a revised policy for us to reflect a new state law related to bereavement. By state law, starting January 1st, an employer is required to allow an employee 10 days off. Not similar to FMLA in that it doesn't require it to be paid, but and it doesn't necessarily have to be at the time of death. It could be, you know, later on to handle those things, but anything related to that. So I'll be working on the rewrite, work with our legal counsel, that's our Open Door Legal, through our insurance company, and then the civil division of the state's attorney's office.
What's the relationship for the bereavements? Do you have to be
Oh, I don't have it off the top of my
mother,
head.
brother, sister,
Yes.
something like that?
Yes,
Kinda
yes,
like-
yes. I don't want to say because I'm going to say something incorrect.
No,
I should have brought that with me.
no, that's fine. I'm sure we'll get it when you get
Yes,
it all together.
yes,
but
it'll all be in there and it'll all be spelled out.
Right.
So it is interesting. I did attend a day and a half seminar in Springfield in October, put on by our insurance company, that essentially deals with all these types of changes and a lot of these HR issues. And it's funny because mother-in-law and father-in-law are not covered under FMLA, but they are covered under this bereavement. So they, for some reason, once they pass away, then you can have time off. But it is what it is.
Right.
So there's quite a bit in there as usual with the state of Illinois. So we'll make sure that all gets taken care of, and our insurance company is very helpful with their Open Door Legal.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Nita, with respect to the sexual harassment training, is it, are there updates? Are there different nuances or what? It's not the same training that we take every year, is it?
It's this training, actually, again, it was the training that we've rolled out. You can take any training that's certified by the state of Illinois, and we have some departments that are required to take the state training, and then they just send us their certificate. For someone who's taken training somewhere else, they can just send in their certificate. But we do have a new training this year. We had our insurance company and Julie Bruck, who is our legal representative who handles any of our HR related issues for Open Door Legal. She's with the law firm OKGC, has taped a new video this year that complies with state law, and it's interesting in that it actually talks about the Governor Cuomo case in New York. So it's rather interesting as she walks through the issues and uses that to explain various nuances with the law. So it's an interesting video. I think you'll find it interesting, and certainly whether or not you've taken one every year, you'll glean something from
How
it.
long is it?
1 hour.
Thank you.
Mrs. Weber.
I just wanted to confirm that with you, that I did watch it last night for an hour, and it's entertaining but really informative because he gives such good bad examples of what not to do.
Yes, yes, exactly. Exactly.
No more tea, though.
No more tea this year.
All right.
Oh,
For those of you who have done it before, it was kind of funny last time. Any other questions? Thank you, Anita. Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
Moving on to administrative appointments or reappointments or resignations. We have a resignation of Mark O'Connor from the Limestone Fire Protection District, an appointment of Steve D. Schultz to the Limestone Protection District, and reappointment of Jason Munyon to the Moments Pembroke Union Drainage District. Motion to combine and approve from Mr. Fairfield and Miss Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Openings, one opening in the Moments Yellowhead Drainage District number 1, one opening in the Mantino Drainage District number 3, one opening in the McGillivray Special Drainage District. So, anybody knowing anyone that want to fill it, those applications are online. Moving on to new business. I need a motion to declare equipment as surplus from the Kankakee County State's Attorney's Office. The equipment is listed in your packet. Motion to Mr. Fairfield and Mr. Hess. I think they have some outdated computer equipment for surplus, declared for surplus. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Next up is authorization of the county board chairman to sign an agreement with Belson Steel for e-waste. Is this our second year? Mr. Wheeler? Okay, all right. Ben's here to talk about that. That's great. Thank you. Year 2? Is this year 2?
It's year 3.
Year 3. Man, time flies.
Time does fly. Thank you,
Time
Mr. Chairman.
flies.
For the edification of the committee, this is kind of a chicken and egg conversation. So we brought forward to PZA the updated years for the intergovernmental agreements between us and the entities. So we met with Karma, who's our biggest contributing entity. And from there now we know kind of what our budget's going to look like, and that allows us to finalize this. I will please accept my apologies. We haven't finalized the document yet. It's we're working with the state's attorney's office to finalize the initial agreement we did with Belson was year 1 and 2, and then an option on years 3 through 7. And so what we're trying to do is, we initially thought, okay, let's look at the 2020 census numbers, make sure we've got an appropriate representation. Obviously, we lost a few people in the census changeover, but I think if we really look at it, the county stayed about the same size, so we kind of took that basis and started looking at re-upping the agreement. In our initial 2 years, we had more expenditure in marketing. So we did the billboards, the radio, the buck slips, the magnets. Jasmine did a really good job on doing a social media platform for us. The social media platform will continue. We did keep a little money in there from a budgetary standpoint, but kind of the high points for this committee is in re-upping the agreement with Belson's. We initially committed $30,000 for years 1 and 2. We're down to 241 and some change, so about 24,000 based on our usage. So what we did at the staff level, and I don't want to bore you too terribly, but I just want you to know, we took years 1.5, so we had data through Qs 1 and 2. We took all of our tonnage. We used our E911 system in our GIS to apply all of those addresses to each geography, and then said, Bourbonnais got this portion of the waste, St. Anne, the county, everybody's got kind of their representative portion. We then applied that to our kind of pre-thought fee. We assumed the project would be about $1 per person within the county, so we're kind of working off that 105,000 number. And then we took that and applied that percentage. We ended up representing about a quarter of that, so that's why we're at that 24,000 number for this request. Again, we'll finalize the paperwork. We'll get the document over to the Belson's team. You'll see the full document before the full board. And we do have continued inbound waste stream information we're going to continue to collect. We'll continue to give that to the PZA committee, just so that way everybody's aware, but we can certainly share that with the group, just so you kind of know where the waste is coming from, who's getting the value out of it. But when we were working with Chairman Wheeler on this one and kind of talking through with the communities, it was kind of like a year 1 and 2, let's get together, here's the number. And we're just kind of guessing at this because we didn't know what the tonnage was going to look like. Now that we've got that, we're really able to go back to those jurisdictions, and if they only represent a small percentage of our waste stream, they only pay a small portion of our costs. And we thought that was the most equitable way to kind of approach this, where if a community is a large contributor of e-waste, then they're a large contributor of the funding of e-waste.
Okay, so we really don't have anything to vote on here. We'll just make a motion to move it to the full board. And will you have that document at the full board, you think?
Yeah, we'll have the document for the full board. Yeah, I mean, in our process, we've got a kind of an authorization for, kind of the 2-meeting thing. We take it to committee, then it goes to Andy won't sign it until after he's authorized by the full board to do that. But if we could receive approval to pending state's attorney's review, right, for that execution of that document, that would be fantastic.
Motion to approve Mr. Wilson's report on the agreement from Belson Steel for the e-waste for our third. Are we gonna go year 3 only, or are we
3
gonna
and 4?
3 and 4 for another 2-year agreement? I'm looking for a motion.
Polk.
Mrs. Polk with a first and Mrs. Weber with a second. All in favor say.
Andy's got his hand up.
Mr. Wheeler, do you have a comment on this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The motion should be that Ben gave the amounts of money. That is going to be in the contract. We should roll call that amount of money to send that to the
Okay,
board.
so that money is a fixed number. Ben's number is a fixed number. He gave like a roundabout number.
No, it's 21,241 and 13 cents.
Okay, so it would Mrs. Polk, was your motion okay with that?
Yes.
Number, Mrs. Weber?
24,241 and 13.
24,241, 13?
Yeah.
Okay. 24,241, 13. And then we'll have a roll call then.
Mr. Lear?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Mr. Fairfield?
Aye.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Featherly?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler?
Aye.
Mr. Searay?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, in your packet, an update to section 2-475. And I think the update is just taking, Mr. Wheeler, I might ask you for a comment, just taking the administrative committee instead of administrative, it's executive committee on both lines. Mr. Wheeler, is that correct? Is that the only update in this section?
That is correct. As I was looking at the committee section of the county code, I knew the next one had to be done, but I found this one as well. Just needs to have the name changed. Process is still the same. If there's 2 qualified candidates, we will bring those to executive committee. If there's 3, then we'll bring those 3 qualified. So
Okay.
That's kind of the way it goes.
So just to put things in line with what our committee titles are. Motion to approve, Mr. Lear and Mr. Fairfield. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to section 2-62. Seems like we're aligning this with our committees. Instead of land use and transportation, it's planning and zoning and agriculture. And in 3, instead of development and operations, it's building and grounds. 7 is instead of public aid committee or ad hoc, it's highway and waterways. And then motion to approve, Mr. Long? Or, second, Ms. Parker? Okay. Any discussion on this one? Discussion, Mr. Lear?
Just to be clear, as I understand it, this is increasing the number of committees. The code that that we're revising probably had needed to be revised before, because we were at 6 committees. I think we're now at 7.
Yes, I believe you're right, sir. Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to note that, you know, the reason that we're going back to, we used to have highways and building and grounds as 2 separate committees, and the workload in those committees dwindled, if you will, at a certain point. So we combined them. Now that we have all of these building projects going for, you know, courthouse, animal control, at least for the next 2 years, that committee needs to stand on its own because there's a lot of work there. The other side of that is, well, highway needs to stand on its own because we're now going to be purchasing upwards of, you know, $5 to $6 million of equipment for the highway department to start clearing out around boat launches and doing the maintenance of the things that we can do on the river. So while it's mostly planning and acquiring equipment the next couple of years, there is some execution with the sand dredging project we have in Aurora Park. So I thought it was a good idea that we create that committee not only to, in the state line bridges and other project that's involved in that committee as well. So it was kind of start the process of planning and executing the river stuff that we're working on, both ourselves and then what Senator Joyce has made available through the state funding.
Any other discussion? So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, next on the docket, I'm gonna invite up Eddie Varero. And it's in your committee request for proposal for social service funding. You can sit here.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Today I am presenting to you the proposal write-up for the RFP ARPA fund for the community providers. It is pretty much in line with the community needs assessment that was created, and where we'll be able to identify providers within Kankakee that are in line with GATA mandates and within the 4 areas of needs that were identified within the community needs assessment, which is mental health, housing, workforce skill development, youth support, and development. This is for organizations that are in existence and really supporting their current operations, but creating a mechanisms in where they're able to combine with other nonprofits to enhance their service areas. We also have within the proposal, as described in prior meetings, 3 main areas that will enhance overall quality of life within Kankakee County. One is making mental health first aid accessible and required for all these subrecipients, Narcan trainings to address the opiate overdose, and of course being able to collaborate in using a system for referrals, which is the IRIS. Within the packet, you'll be able to see that it is designed to create collaboration, but also create creativity to enhance social services. So there are some examples on how this could be done, and this will be done through a written process. There is a score mechanism that the committee could be using to address the qualifications and gearing up the organizations. We are also going to be scheduling a Q&A, so for anybody that's interested in applying, it will be recorded, so they'll be able to attend, ask any questions, and we'll have staff available for any questions on it. In your packet, you also have a budget proposal, so the organizations are able to create their budgets and to be able to justify it. We do have within this format available time frame, so it'll be up to the committee and of course the board as a whole to give us time frames when the RP should be released, and then when it should be time frame to close it, and then the period to identify. But overall, this process is designed on best practices for requests for proposals. So a lot of our community-based providers should be very familiar with the process, and it's pretty much very straightforward, but it's designed and aligned with the outcomes that were identified within the community needs assessment. Any questions that you may have on the process or anything within the actual written document proposed?
Mr. Hunter first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Eddie, the 4 categories again, I had a brain freeze there for a second.
Sure.
Mental health, housing, what are the other 2?
Sure, and that you could find on page, it's page 13.
Okay.
I'm sorry, page 6, mental health, housing, workforce skill development, youth support and development. A provider could mix and match. So somebody that is specialty with mental health and has a relationship with somebody with workforce because they've identified that there is a lot of social emotional needs within a workforce organization. They could kind of work together and present something that's innovative, addressing the mental health needs, as well as trying to retain members within a workforce skill set programming. So it's really, it allows an organization to choose one or many of these, one of these, or all these 4 bucket areas. It is, so it's designed for it to mix and match, but also for collaboration.
Yeah, I see it. Thank you.
Mrs. Weber.
Thank you. I just want to compliment you again, or anybody that wants to be complimented about how directly this is associated with a needs assessment. We've spent a lot of time finding the needs of the people, and they're being reflected here. It's a wonderful thing. Especially also like the selection criteria, because it gives down numbers about how to evaluate what's been presented, and that's a good way to evaluate, I think. Thank you.
On that, Ms. Weber, I just want to address one of the thought process when designing the RP was also looking at where the county wants to lead. So we're looking at the actual criteria to report out to the board members. So really looking at the impact that the dollars of the ARPA is going to be invested within Kankakee County, but also looking at working with our community-based organizations, how to sustain and maintain the funding streams. So the idea is to really develop that collaboration and going after fundings that are collaborative in nature.
Thank you. Yes, great.
Mr. Lear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In regard to the time schedule, everything right now is just showing X's. When are you going to be able to put in dates for that time schedule for when the requests will be posted and advertised, when proposals are due, etc.?
I think that we could discuss with Chairman Wheeler, when does the funding anticipate. Usually we're looking at your historic funding structure, so we could probably identify that. So we could look at maybe something that health department or other RFP structure. So we want to model whatever you've done in the past. So that's why we left it open. So we wanted to have a conversation with Kankakee County administrators to see how do they want it. If they want it started at the beginning of the calendar year, we could probably start it January 1st to be released, and then closing the RFP mid-February with award anticipation mid-March. So it gives us that Q1 of the calendar year to identify all the candidates, and then getting them ready to start off maybe April 1st. But that's something that we could discuss with leadership at the county level.
Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The thought I had is our fiscal starts on December 1st. I was thinking we release this on December 1st to get it out there, because I know the public is waiting on that. A lot of providers are asking about it, service providers. So if the committee's okay with that, we release it on the 1st, and then we adapt the timeline as Eddie was laying out there based on that date. Mid-January or February 1st responses, take some time to go through it. We could build the rest of that, but this committee should, I think we should line up with our fiscal year, or we should line up with the state's fiscal year. And Eddie knows what I'm talking about as far as the June side of things. I think it's too long to wait for that. I think we need to get on this now. So that's why I suggested December 1st for our fiscal.
And that's aligned with a lot of other municipalities or governmental agencies that usually start at their fiscal year. So if it's on December 1st, we're ready to release it on December 1st based on the consent of this this committee.
Ms. Weber.
If we move, and we hope to move right now, where is it going? How will you distribute inviting people to propose?
So it'll be very similar to how it was distributed for the RFP for the fiscal organization. So we'll set it up with the dates that Chairman Wheeler described, and we'll forward it to for the distribution within Kankakee County. The return addresses will be to Rincon Family Services. So we'll obtain them, gather them up, and then share with the selection committee of the board. This is what came in. This is how areas are coming in, and then the county. And this, Chairman Wheeler, please correct me. Then the committee. I believe this committee will be provided similar to how it was created for the administrative process. I believe that's the thought process to select. Ultimately, it is the county board that will determine finalists and amounts. We'll just make sure that everything is dotted and crossed properly, and then make those all the candidates available with their funding structure or requests.
Just who will get that? It's going to be publicly advertised. You can propose if you want. So that I just wanted enough people to know about it, so that you have a full range of opportunities.
Yes, we'll put it on social media, and we'll also share it with all the organizations we work with. But of course, all the commissioners will have access to it, and we'll make sure that it's highly distributed. And we'll engage also with the newspapers, so we could put it on the newspaper saying solicitation for this grant. The more people, the better.
Absolutely.
So we'll approve it here. It'll go in front of the full board with dates of time schedule then put in to match up to our fiscal year, and then we'll go from there, from applicants and judging and everything. But we have to approve this RFP here first. So can I have a motion to approve Mr. Hunter and Ms. Weber? And then if we have any discussions on the actual document that's in front of us now, we can answer those questions for Mr. Vareo. Am I saying that right? I always mess names up.
No,
so
you got it. You got it. You're good.
All right. So, Mr. Lear?
I don't know whether it requires an amendment or how. Based on what the chairman said, I'd like the date of December 1st put in for the request for proposals posted and
As
advertised.
Okay. Is that fine with your motion and as well as yours? That we put December 1st as the first date, and then we can move it to the full board. It'll have the rest of the... Mr. Hess has a comment in the back.
Yes, if we do that December 1st, we don't meet as a board until December 13th.
No.
Right.
It wouldn't be approved by the board.
That is true. You're right.
So December 13th?
We'd be ahead of that.
That should be, I mean, that's got to be a board approval before it's released.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
I'll withdraw the request.
Okay. And the dates will come in as at the full board with this document filled out, and then the board can, full board can approve it. Mr. Wheeler, you got a comment on that timeline?
Well, yeah, I guess there was a question, because I thought we had already approved the $2 million social service bucket, and that we were going down this road. I was assuming this community was going to release, or this committee was going to release this today, because we've already had the other approvals on the budgeting and everything else previously. So I'm just curious. We had community services bless the actual needs assessment, the community needs assessment. So we'll go to full board. It just pushes it all out another month. So it's just really up to the committee how they want to do it. I thought we had the approvals in line already, but I may be wrong.
I think I kind of lean with Mr. Hess. I think we can't approve it without the dates that are set. So, and I think the full board needs to make that approval.
Mr. Coglin's back here. What?
Yeah.
Legal.
Mr. Coglin, do you have any opinion on this?
I believe the board has to approve it. I don't know whether or not it was previously approved.
Please, sir.
If it was previously approved, then I believe it would be okay to put it in, but I don't have that information in front of me whether it was previously approved or not. The board does have to approve it.
Okay. Thank you. This is an RFP, so Mr.
I'm not sure if this committee approved the 2 million or not in the past and it went to the board, but I don't believe the 2 million's gone through finance. I'm not sure, between the two committees, if that 2 million allocation has been approved yet or not.
Mr. McCarty, thank you. So with this committee's blessing, Eddie, if it's okay with you and Mr. Wheeler, if we can just wait till the full board's approval date, which would be the 13th, then we could release it, and it would still be within our first fiscal year. I mean, it's a 2-week, 13 days. I think that would make sure that we're all above everything and everything is transparent. That's okay by this committee, and it's okay by you, Mr. Wheeler. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine. If we need to do that, let's do it the way we need to do it. It is only 15 days, so you're right.
Yes. I think we can timely fashion. If we have people waiting in line for this, that'll give them that much more notice. And I'm glad to see it. It's a great proposal or a great presentation. Thank you very much. So with the two motions, are we agreement upon that? We're gonna move it to the full board with the yellow filled in. All right. All right. Perfect. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay. Motion carries. All right. Start fixing that yellow.
Will do.
All right,
Thank everyone.
you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Okay. No, that's a blessing for this, for the survey and everything. It's coming down the road. I'm thankful to see that we're moving that way. So thank you, everyone who's participated in the surveys, to see this is where your survey information has led. So, do I have any old business in front of the committee? Is there any old business?
I had a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Wheeler.
Committee, since there is really nothing in here that is, I want to say, time sensitive, we're going to be given months to people to put together their proposal. Is it okay with the committee if a potential applicant asks for this draft without the dates that I give it to them, so they can start preparing and not wait until the 15th to start writing up?
It's public record now because it's in our packet, so I believe that's fine. We've approved the document as far as without the dates. If I don't see any problem with that now that we've discussed it here in the public. Does anybody in this committee see any issues with that? No. Let's move forward, and we can if they want to look at the document, they can look at the document.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So, any other old business? Mr. Hess?
I'll make a motion to adjourn so we get to the next meeting.
Okay, motion, and I need a second. Mr. Fairfield, all in favor, say aye.